Folks, they are hemorrhaging people out of liberal states. What does that mean? That means what's going to happen is as people leave California and move to Texas, say the split is 50-50, Democrat and Republican, which it's not. It's probably more Republicans leaving. What's happening is Texas, because the census every 10 years, they reallocate congressional seats, right? If Texas has, and every congressional seat, every 700,000 people roughly is a new congressional seat. So let's say 1.4 million people move from California, New York to Texas. Texas gets 2 additional seats in the next census, in the next reallocation, and New York and California lose 1. That congressman in that state, because they're controlled by Republicans who get to gerrymander the state, just like Democrats do in Democrat states, is likely going to be another Republican seat. The Democrats are terrified because they realize that nobody's leaving red states, everybody's leaving blue states. You get it? You could lose the House forever on the Electoral College side for the presidency. The presidency is not a popular vote. It's not. It's 50 individual state votes where they allocate Electoral College electors. The electors and the number of electors each state gets is the number of congressmen plus 2 for the Senate. So if Texas has, say, 30, forget numbers, forgive me, I'm escaping me right now, but they have 2 senators and they get 32 electoral votes, and then in the next 10 years, Texas gets 2 additional congressional seats or 1, then they actually have more votes for president as well to get to 270. You don't think the Democrats know this? 40, thank you. You guys on the ball today. So Texas has 42. How many's Florida? Is it 29 or did they get more? So Texas has 42. You only need 270 electoral college votes to be elected president. Texas, which is almost guaranteed to be Republican, you've already got 42. That's 30, so that's 32. So you're at 74 before you've even won another state. While California and New York and Illinois, the big Democrat halls, are losing people. How can you change all of that? Oh, if the census count includes illegal immigrants. It's that simple, Dan? Yes, sir. No, it isn't. Yes, it is.
That was Dan Bongino on the Dan Bongino Show. I hope I said his name right. I hope I didn't butcher it. But you heard that right. I couldn't have said it better myself, so I had to take that clip from his show. So welcome, everybody. This is the Island Podcast. I am your host, Alvis Samuel, and as you can see, I'm going to dive right into a lot of major things. And dreams, because there's 2 specific dreams that I've spoken on in the past, and I believe they are coming into fruition right now as we speak, and it's going to be a massive span. So I have a lot that I have to dive into, and it all connects together. Again, this is the Island Podcast, and I am your host, Alvis Samuel. So let's first dive into the Dan Bongino show and how he was explaining things, because I was having a specific conversation with a lovely person, my mother, and I was asking, there's something more sinister going on at the border, and this explains it to a certain extent, because I was also asking the question, and I've mentioned it in my latest podcast that I did. I mentioned it, and I was questioning something on why Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, was sending immigrants everywhere. These are people just crossing over the border. They're not coming here legally, they're coming here illegally. That is the United States of America. But yet he was sending people on buses everywhere. And it seemed to me, mainly New York, but it also looks like a lot of these immigrants, they're being sent to Democrat states. And so while I was listening to this, something started to click in my head. Because all of these people from these blue states, these Democrat states, they all are coming to places like Florida, Texas, Arizona. They're all coming to Republican red states. And it seems like these are the Republicans that are coming to Republican red states. Maybe even both, maybe 50-50. Maybe that's the case, like this guy Dan said. However, what if it's not? What if it's all Republicans? And Greg Abbott is sending all of these people who are going to vote Democrat, period, because they were promised something. So he's sending them to Democrat states. You want Democrats? Here you go. You can have them. Because what they are really trying to do is flood Republican states. And a lot of these Republican states are on the border. These are big states, hold big votes, hold a lot of weight. Obviously, that's Texas, Florida. And they're trying to flood these states with people who will vote Democrat. So there will be Democrats in Democrat states who will always vote Democrat. They're blue states. They'll always be blue states. It is what it is. And they're trying to flood the red states with people who were promised something from the Democrats as long as they vote blue. So now you have the entirety of the United States being overrun by the Democrats and what they really want. It's all going to be Democrats everywhere. That's what they want, a complete takeover. And you have some governors who have been realizing this. And he's replacing all of these people that are being overrun in Republican states. He is taking them out and moving them to Democrat states. You will not overrun this state with what you want to do. Democrat Party. I keep saying Democratic, but Democrat Party. I'm going to send these people to these blue states. You want them? Here they go. You want them over here? You want them in the United States? Well, they'll be in the United States, just in your state. You want them over here? That's fine. We will send them to a blue state. You want it to be blue? We will keep it blue. You promise them this as long as you get their vote? That's fine. Go to the blue state. And I said I was going to get down to the nitty-gritty of all of this. And I think I have. So we have states trying to be overrun to become blue states, purple states. That's that demographic is destiny BS bullcrap that they're trying to spread all throughout the entire United States of America. However, you have to be very careful when you speak upon this. Because when you hear people speak upon it, it can become something that they want others to believe in a person. And if you're on the side of we don't want these people to become minorities, then you become a person who might sound a little racist. Oh, you're racist. You don't want this to happen because you want quote unquote white people to stay the majority. And notice every time they talk about demographic destiny, they throw in white people will become the minority. So when you speak upon it, they want you to also speak upon race. So you become trapped in something. Trapped in, if you are for it, then everyone heralds you. But if you are against it, then you become a person who is a supporter of white supremacy. So therefore, you must sit down and shut your mouth. Not realizing that as you sit down and shut your mouth, you're giving them everything that they want. Because no one wants to be labeled as a supporter of white supremacy. No one wants to be labeled as a racist. That is why a few years ago, this was a big push. Label everybody as a racist, and let's see how the group of people, let's see how the nation, the citizens respond to calling people racist. And sure enough, everyone did exactly what they were wanting you to do. Cancel them. Get them off the waves. Shut them up. They're racist. Get them off TV. Get them off radio. That is exactly what happened. And so now they know if we can get people labeled as racist when we talk about this, we can shut them up. We can shut them down by the people. The people will tell them to shut up. So now you're seeing a connection when they talk about demographic destiny. And if you are against it, then you are for white supremacy. And if you are for white supremacy, you will be shut down because you will be deemed as a racist, not deemed as a person who says, I am a United States citizen. And I think what you're doing, not letting people go through the system correctly to become an American citizen, a United States citizen, but you're just letting people run across the border to do whatever they want as long as they vote the way you tell them to vote. I am against that. But if you say that, you will be deemed a racist. All of this stuff was going on underneath our noses. Even mine, I could say. But I kept saying, though, there's something that doesn't seem right with all of these people coming across the border. And it still deals with human trafficking, because what I am starting to see is there's children involved here. And what is the biggest way to make sure the people who are old enough, it doesn't matter if they're illegal immigrants or not, to make sure that they vote the way you tell them to vote? Now we're getting somewhere purely evil. How do you make sure that they will do what you tell them to do? You take their children, and then you make their children do just horrific, just disturbing things that are abomination, evil, wicked. You make their children do stuff like that. And you say they will keep going and keep doing this stuff to make sure the elders, the adults, do exactly what they were told to do. This is the Biden administration. I'm going to say it like it is. You can go back and listen to everything that I've said in the past, and please tell me, write me something. Let me know if I've been wrong on any of it. Test my words. And sure enough, this is the link that I've been trying to find. What is going on? How can all of this be connected to each other? And then all of a sudden, I find the connection on a period when I just feel like I just want to stop and just not do it anymore. Then all of a sudden, just like that, the connection appears. So everyone flooding will do exactly what this Biden administration tells them to do, because the Biden administration, I've said it many times and I'm going to keep on saying it. One, Biden is a traitor. I've said that many times. I don't care. It's the truth. Two, the Biden family is 100%, and his administration for that, they are all 100% in on human trafficking, child trafficking, sexual exploitation on children. They are in on it 100%. And they're doing it because they want a demographic that only votes for them, that keeps them in power. And to make sure they stay in power, they take people's children through any means necessary. A natural disaster, take the kids. A war, take the kids. Any means, take the kids. That's what they want. Everything will connect. Everything. Like I said, this show today, this episode today, I am going to shine a massive light on a lot of things. Whether you agree, whether you like it or not, it doesn't matter. The truth has to be told. It has to be told. Some people want to sit here and and say good times are coming. And I'm here to tell you that is not the truth. We have a wicked, not just a corrupt, but a wicked and evil administration at the helm, at the top of this country. All because the people wanted it. Because the people wanted to dive into their own vices, into their own abominations, their own sinful lust. They wanted to do what made them feel good. And they didn't want to hear the truth because the truth hurts a little bit. Sometimes a lot of bit. There's my phone again. But it is the truth. And because of that, we now have an administration who says, you like it? We will go ahead and let you go in all of this. And we will feed off of your just unnatural desires and start pushing laws that you will not recognize, that you will not see, because you are too busy involving yourselves into unnatural desires. And about the time you realize what's truly going on, it will be too late. I remember having an episode saying, where are all the righteous people in this nation? Where are you? I remember saying, and I will continue to say, where are all the true people called of God? The true prophets, not these television ones. Good times are coming. What is wrong with you? There is a war being fought right now. As you are sitting on TV saying good times are just around the corner, instead of actually jumping into this war and saying it's time not to think of any of these good times right around the corner, because they may not even come if we don't get into the actual fight. And I'm not talking about the fight of now, like I said in my last episode, people are starting to distance themselves a little bit away from Trump. Instead of calling him Trump, just mentioning the number 45, because they might be wrong again when it comes to him. I'm not saying they will be. I'm not saying they won't be. But they're starting to distance themselves just in case they are wrong and he doesn't win. Just in case. I've been sitting here saying stop worrying, stop wandering over this Trump mess, and actually look at what's going on. Follow the breadcrumbs. See what's really happening as they push this Trump mess. It's now to the point to where even now the media has to start putting a small little flashlight, not even an entire spotlight, but a flashlight on what is actually going on inside the United States of America, because now even themselves are going to be caught in the crosshair. I can tell you where it's all going to end up before I even get into everything else. And I'm going to tell you that right now. It's going to end up with a civil war inside the United States, regardless of what someone like Greg Abbott is doing. Because what he is doing is sending everybody to one specific side, truly making separate lines. In today's world, we are segregating ourselves not by race, not by skin color, but we are separating ourselves by political affiliation. That's called segregation. We are segregating ourselves by our political affiliation. Now, realizing by doing that, this country will go to war amongst itself. It's going to happen. Good times around the corner. These are foolish people saying that stuff. False in every mean of them. So now that I've said that, let's go into these two dreams. I'm going to start with the most recent one, because that is actually the one that I've told everybody on this podcast, on the Island podcast. That is the dream I've told everybody. And it's the dream when I looked out, I'm standing in a warehouse and I look outside, I look towards the east and I see the moon. And I'm just staring at the moon, and then all of a sudden I see what looked like to be planets. It looked like planets coming to the earth, towards the earth, and they're getting bigger and bigger. One comes and it kind of stops. Another one comes and it stops, and all of a sudden a bunch come. And we're going to go back and what these planets look like, they actually, and I am not lying to you, they actually look like, now that I go back to look at all of it in my mind and what actually happened, they look like the spy balloon that went over the United States of America that we all freaked out over, myself included. But that's what it looked like. And I remember saying that was my dream. It was planets that looked like that. A bunch of them ended up coming. And then through all of them coming, they formed a massive warrior. And when I mean massive, this warrior was massive, almost like a Viking, like fierce in every part of him. He was huge. Anger spewing out of his eyes. Someone you did not want to fight with. However, he was coming and he was going to pledge war against the warehouse I was in. And then all of a sudden he turns and looks at the moon. He grabs the moon that was on the east and places the moon on top of his head. And the moon forms a helmet. Then as the moon forms this helmet, he grabs a spear, a massive spear in his hand, and throws it across the sky. And he throws it towards the sun. And clouds and everything comes out of the spear, and the sun begins to be blotted out. And then I turn to my north, and as I turn to my north, inside the warehouse, everything goes up in flames, massive flames everywhere inside this warehouse, just to the north. And then all of a sudden, out of the sky, I would call it like a dove-like figure. Not a dove, but a dove-like figure comes out, comes through the roof, and comes down, flies very gracefully, has a powerful voice, but still subtle, moves with power, but moves gently. And all it says to me is, follow me and you will be safe. The fire never crosses its path, and the fire stays on the north. It never goes past the line this dove-like figure makes. This dove-like figure, like I said, comes down through the roof, out of the clouds, through the roof, and it flies westward. It flies to the west and says, follow me and you will be safe. After that dream, I wake up. That was the most recent dream, and I've said that dream on this podcast before, and I've had people tell me what some of these symbols mean in that dream and stuff like that. And I've been letting things happen, and I've been watching things to see if any of this is something major. I've always thought it was. But there was something a person told me that struck me a little bit. It says that the moon represented Israel, and the warrior put the moon on its head as a helmet going to war back in the old times, olden days. And I remember that. And then one day this past weekend, before Israel declared war against Hamas, I remember looking up in the clouds, actually looking eastward toward the clouds. And I looked towards my wife and I said, hey, babe, look at the sky. That is exactly that moon right there. How it's facing, it's during the daytime. Everything matches with that moon that was in my dream. It looked exactly like that. That night, because this was during the morning, that night, I see, to my surprise, the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, declaring war against Hamas. And things started to truly make sense in my head. There will be a spear, not an actual spear, but something will go across the sky and the sun will be blotted out. And it's not going to happen just like right there, the split second this happens, the split second this happens. It's not going to be like that. It could be minutes, it could be hours, it could be days, maybe even weeks. but something will go across the sky. A spear of war. This spear may or may not be a missile, a bomb. It could be something like that will go across the sky. But afterward, those who see it will know that soon the sun will be blotted out. And when the sun is blotted out, after that, fire will appear in the north. Chaos, destruction will soon follow the sun being blotted out. This was a dream I had. I want to say, I know it was months ago. It might have been last year. And it stuck with me for about a year, I want to say. And I'm watching this play out right now. Now, that was the first dream. The second dream happened before this. Like I said, I was going to start with the most recent one. And now I'm going to go back years ago. Honestly, I want to say it was close to a decade ago, over close to 10 years, about 10 years, not over 10 years, but about 10 years ago, I would say. And this dream has stuck with me this entire time. And I remember, obviously, I went to sleep. Obviously, you dream while you're asleep. And in this dream, I remember again looking up at the moon. This moon, though, was different than the most recent dream that I had with the moon inside of it. This moon dealt with now I know this moon was a super blue moon, and it was dark everywhere because I was looking into the stars, looking into the sky. It was a beautiful sky, a night sky, so you got to see stars, but this moon was huge. And then all of a sudden, the color of the moon turned blue, a nice icy blue color that glue. And then out of this glow of the moon, this massive snake, serpent, some would say, came out of the moon. And it started coming closer and closer to the place I was living in. At this time, I was living in a trailer and in this trailer park, and this serpent was coming closer and closer to the trailer. And then all of a sudden, the night sky turns into all of this lightning just striking everywhere. And mainly, I turned away from the snake and I saw this well where all the lightning was striking on top of, it's like a water well. And on top of this well was a stone to where you could not go inside. And the lightning kept striking this well over and over and over and over again. And then from there, I turned and looked, and there was no snake. And then I turned back to the well, and the top was off of the well. And then I had my door, and I was looking. I opened up my door to this was still in the dream, and I opened up my door, and all of a sudden that serpent was coming towards the door. And this serpent, I honestly say, for a snake, I'm not one that likes to call animals beautiful or anything like that, but for a snake, it was a beautiful looking snake. But you could tell the essence it gave you, the sense it gave you, was it was pure evil. It was pure, pure. There was no good in this snake. None whatsoever. And it was massive and it was large. And the only thing I could do was stop in my tracks right at the doorpost before you enter. I'm already inside, and I knelt down and started praying in my dream. And then all of a sudden, my brothers just appear, and we all grab hands and we start praying, and this serpent circles, it starts crawling up the doorpost and starts to try to become the shape of the doorpost. And the more it tried to cover the doorpost of the door, of the entrance of the door, the stronger and stronger and harder we started to pray. And then the serpent left the entrance, and it went back to the serpent itself went back into the well where the lightning was striking it. And I woke up from there. And all of a sudden now, actually very recently, like I said, that dream has stayed with me for almost a decade. I haven't lost, I know I could tell you in detail everything of that dream. But very recently this year, there was something that amazingly something happened. It was earlier this year. What month are we in? We are in September. No, we're in October now, so I don't even know. So it happened in the month of September, late in the month of September. It's now October 10th, 2023. And in the month of September, there was a super blue moon that happened in the month of September. But at the same time, while this super blue moon was occurring, apparently there was something called Saint Elmo's fire happening inside the clouds. And there's video of this at the same time of this super blue moon that was happening at the exact same time. And if you don't know what a Saint Elmo's fire is, it's a lot of lightning that just goes you can't see it unless you are in the clouds, like in a plane and you're flying, and that's how you're able to see all the lightning strikes. So at the same time, all of these lightning strikes are happening while this super blue moon is going on. And I remember when all this was going on, this dream came back. And what I began to feel was a spirit was being born. Not even being born, but a person was getting this spirit inside of them. And I am here to tell you that I'm not saying the Antichrist is here right now on earth. That's not what I'm saying, because the Bible does it, but the Bible does say that the spirit of the Antichrist roams the earth. And I will also say this: if this is an intuitional dream, a prophetic dream that I had, and it deals with the actual Antichrist or the actual spirit of the Antichrist, it is coming to the United States, or at least this spirit or this person, and it's going to take brothers and sisters in Jesus Christ to actually stop what they are doing. Get on your knees, get on our knees, and and begin to pray like we've never prayed before, because there are dark times coming, and the only way to push this back, to push it back within the depths of where it came from, will be prayer, and prayer only. That's what I've gotten out of these two dreams. One is something that's going to set everything ablaze, and the other one was dealing with a spirit of the Antichrist that is forming in a person, and it's going to take the church itself to realize it is the church, and that they need to come together and begin to pray earnestly, true prayer, and through that prayer, it will push off this spirit that is coming to the doorsteps of everybody. And if this prayer does not happen, then you will see a manifestation of what we've been saying for years, decades, centuries: the Antichrist. He will actually appear. But we don't want him to appear, at least not right now. But it's only going to take prayer. Prayer is the answer to all of it, to at least push it back even further. Those are the two dreams that I wanted to talk about. Very significant dreams. One I do believe is being played out right now. The warrior, Israel going to war. There's going to be something that the whole world should be able to see, that's going to go across the sky right before the sun is blotted out. I don't know how long the sun's going to be blotted out, but it's going to happen. And then after the sun is blotted out, fire will occur. How long after the sun's blotted out? I don't know the exact, I'm not giving exact times, but watch and see. And then you must hear the voice of the Holy Spirit, God's Spirit, the Spirit of truth. You must hear it. And those who hear it, you must follow it and listen. You must listen and follow it. You will be safe if you do that. And in the midst of all of the chaos that will be happening, you must pray a sincere and earnest prayer, a prayer of protection, a prayer of the blood of Christ to be upon your life and those who are loved. You must do these things, because if not, again, I'm here to warn everybody, to tell everybody, there are very troubling times upon the earth that is occurring right now. And that gets me to the last thing I want to talk about. And this deals with Israel and the United States of America. And it's something that I take very, very seriously, because I don't remember this man's name, but I remember telling a specific person, there was a guy, he's from Africa. When someone calls this man a prophet, he shudders away from it. He doesn't like it. One, when I see someone like that, that is a man that I might listen to, because he himself doesn't want that title, but yet it keeps going to him. Unlike these television prophets, you're not going to find this man on TV. Like I said, I don't even remember his name, but I do remember his voice. So if I hear his voice, I can tell you that's the man. I don't even know what he looks like. I just know his voice. And I remember this prophecy apparently that he told years ago that I listened to. And everything he said is coming true right now. He mentioned Trump before he was president. He mentioned Trump will lose, and he did. And he mentioned there will be something that is going to happen on the border of the United States that is going to bring in a pure evil, and it has. Every word this man has said, he is from Africa, is coming to pass. Not one word has been false. He also mentioned Trump, there will be someone that will help Trump to get out of all his mess that will happen somewhere along Arizona area, somewhere it's going to be a female. He mentioned that before all of these television prophets. I wonder if they heard the same person that I heard. Because now all of these television prophets, television Christians, they are mentioning there's going to be some female. A year later, after this man has said it. So I wonder if they came across the same person and they just want to copy what this man has said. Strictly because everything this man has said in this specific prophecy has come true. But then he also said something, that there will be something that comes across the border, and it will try to do everything it can to take over, and it will get to the point to where a civil war might break out in the United States of America. I mentioned this. This is where it's headed. I can see this. No, I'm not trying to copy what this man is saying. I'm telling you, I can see it strictly between what at least one governor is doing in the state of Texas and another one is doing in the state of New York. Or it might just be the mayor of New York, the city of New York. New York City, New York, whatever they want to call it. Anyways, but there is something brewing, that there will be a clash. And this clash is a clash of political affiliation, not racial affiliation, even though the premise of race might be what they're trying to focus it on, but it's really a political affiliation. Who are you affiliated with politically? That is about to happen yet again inside the United States if we do not stop what we are doing and get on our knees and start praying earnestly. And then there's another part of this prophecy that he mentioned that is starting to happen right now. There will be some sort of turmoil that happens inside Israel. And whatever the United States of America does, when it comes to Israel, it will be manifested 100 times inside the United States of America. This part stuck with me for a very long time. Then it made me look up certain things inside the United States, and I could see this is a very good possibility. The signs are there for this actually to happen. And this part of the prophecy was this: if the United States of America goes into Israel and they decide or have a hand in splitting the land of God to appease the minds of men, then God himself will come down to the United States of America and split the United States of America into two, just like what the United States did to his land. He will do it in the United States of America. When I heard that part of the prophecy, I decided, let me look something up. And it assured me something when I did this. And no one is real. I've mentioned this before in the past about the New Madrid fault line, about what is going on in the Mississippi River, the water levels, the land sinking. No one's really talking about it. There is the bacteria going into a water system. It's showing you specific signs that an earthquake is brewing up inside the Mississippi River, alongside the New Madrid fault line. There's something happening, but it's happening slowly. And then all of a sudden, this war breaks out between Hamas and Israel. And we have a president who we know he is a liar, he is corrupt, and he will try his best to appease the minds of men. He might say one thing, but he really means something else. He might say he won't do this, but he really will. So we go back to prayer. Now, I was having a conversation with a man. I call him a man of God myself because he is my father, my earthly father, that is, my dad. And I was having a conversation with him about something specific the other day. And there's something that I mentioned that Joe Biden himself has at the very least a chance to redeem himself in a way to where when Joe Biden does pass, he will at least pass away in peace, or he will pass away with hell. And it's going to deal with this war. Not with the words that he says, but it's going to deal with this war. He will have the chance to appease God or appease the mind of men. If he appeases God, he will pass away in his old age in peace, at the very least. And that will be the end of it. However, if he appeases the minds of men, because what will happen in this war is that there will be a lot of people, a lot of grumbling, a lot of voices getting louder and louder and louder, saying this war must stop. And the only way we can stop this war is give this group of people this much land, and then the rest can go to this group of people. One group basically being Hamas, and the other group, the Jewish community. If Biden appeases the minds of men, God will split the United States of America. Not like how we split it with borders, but God will split it down the middle with an earthquake that has never been seen before on the face of this earth by any man. We must pray earnestly, sincerely. We must pray. Yeah, I don't care that you don't like the president of the United States, Joe Biden. I'm not too fond of him myself, obviously. But at the very least, you must pray that in this moment, he does the right thing. And that is to appease God and not the minds of men. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle you decide you want to be on. It matters, are you going to be on the side of righteousness? Not political side, but the side of righteousness or the side of wickedness. That is what matters. Forget your political affiliation, at least for this moment in time, and come together to pray that the right and the correct thing is done with this President Joe Biden, that he makes the correct decision when all the doors are shut and all these world leaders get together and they decide on what they're actually going to do, that they do the right thing. Because it's not just the lives of the people of Hamas and Palestinians. It's not just their lives. It's not just the lives of the people inside Israel. It will be the lives of the entire world watching and waiting. And within an hour of that decision, God will make his decision. Did we do the right thing? It will be known. We will all feel it. If we did the right thing, peace will be upon the nations. That includes the United States. That includes Israel. That includes every place around it, around us. But if we do the wrong thing, the world will look and see and know that God is real, and know that his judgments are real, and know that they have angered an angry, mighty God who has created all things. Everything you see with your eyes, your own breath, he has created. And if we choose the wrong thing, if the president chooses the wrong way to go, the entire earth, everyone within it, will know for a fact that Jesus Christ is Lord. Just go to rss.com/podcast/the island, and there you will find the donation button. Click on that, and it'll lead you wherever you want to go. And again, thank you for listening to The Island Podcast with your host, Alvis Samuel.